There's a new vibe building in Las Vegas, and it might just have something to do with a familiar name, Tom Brady. Raiders head coach PeteCarroll recently made an appearance on a Seattle-based sports podcast, and during the conversation, he was asked about his connection with the seven-time Super Bowl champion. Carroll didn't hold back. He described his relationship with Brady as a close one, saying they talk regularly, even if Brady's physical presence in the Raiders facility has been rare. In fact, according to Carroll, Brady has only been to the building once since Carroll arrived. Still, the conversations between them run deep. It's not just football. They talk philosophy, leadership, and mindset. And that mindset, Carroll made it clear, it's exactly what the Raiders are trying to infuse throughout the entire organization. He called Brady the all-time competitor, praising how he sees the world, approaches life, and seizes every opportunity with intensity and focus. Carroll believes bringing that mentality into the Raiders culture could be transformational. One of the most revealing parts of Carroll's comments? He admitted that Brady's involvement with the franchise actually influenced his own decision to join the Raiders. That's right. Carroll said that once Brady came on board in his new ownership and advisory role, it shifted how he viewed the opportunity in Las Vegas. He saw it as one of the greatest chances of his career to help build something special. Now, let's be honest. We've seen Brady's shadow over the Raiders for a while now. The rumors have been there for at least 2 seasons, and although his role as a part owner was only made official recently, the influence started long before that. And today, you could argue that the Raiders are in the best position they've been in over the past 2 decades. It's no coincidence. Tom Brady brings a standard, one that's rare in any sport. Despite not being around every day, his presence is felt, whether it's through his conversations with Carroll, his influence on team culture, or just the sheer weight of his legacy. Brady is helping shape a new direction for the Raiders. It's a fascinating development for a franchise that spent years searching for stability and identity. With Carroll at the helm and Brady helping shape the vision, the silver and black just might be building something special. When it comes to rebuilding an NFL franchise, finding the right quarterback is the toughest job of all. And PeteCarroll may have already solved that puzzle for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's no secret that the Raiders needed stability at the most important position in football. Now, with Geno Smith reportedly in the mix, it looks like Carroll wasted no time landing his guy. And that's just the beginning. The direction this team is heading feels different, arguably the most promising it's been in the last 15 years. A big part of that credit goes to new general manager JohnSpytek, whose first offseason has already made a statement. Through the draft and free agency, Spytek has shown patience, discipline, and strategy. He avoided the classic mistakes, overpaying for big-name free agents or reaching in the draft. Instead, the Raiders targeted value, players who fit their system without breaking the bank. This approach is smart team building. Unless you're signing a top 5 player at a premium position, think wide receiver or defensive tackle, it rarely makes sense to throw around huge contracts. Some positions, like linebacker or safety, don't always translate well from team to team. But players like T. Higgins or Christian Wilkins, those types of talents can fit anywhere and still thrive. Las Vegas handled free agency with that mindset. They were selective, they were measured, and they came away with impact players without overspending. The draft? Same story. The Raiders focused on value, landing prospects with real upside, like edge rusher Charles Grant, a player with big potential. And while all of this is happening behind the scenes, Tom Brady's influence continues to linger. He's not just a figurehead, he's playing a role in shaping the identity of this franchise. According to Carroll, Brady's presence helped set the tone and made sure the right people were being brought into the building, including a quarterback to lead the future. But the moves didn't stop there. The Raiders recently made another front office hire, this time adding Brandon Hunt, formerly the Eagles' senior director of scouting. He's now stepping in as the team's vice president of player personnel under Spytek. Around the league, Hunt is viewed as a rising star. Some believe he'll be a general manager within the next decade. As vice president of player personnel, Hunt will be responsible for evaluating current NFL talent, monitoring upcoming free agents, and keeping tabs on players in other leagues like the UFL or CFL. He'll be the guy tracking practice squad standouts and making sure no valuable opportunity slips through the cracks. The philosophy remains consistent. Build through value. Target players flying under the radar. Look for the next Robert Spillane or Zach Bond. Players who don't cost a fortune but bring high-level production. Even guys like Christian Ellis, who the Raiders pursued from New England, fit that mold. Brandon Hunt will carry a lot of responsibility, but make no mistake. The credit should go to the leadership at the top. SuperBowl is building a structure that looks sustainable. Hunt's role is important, but it's all part of a bigger vision. A calculated, disciplined rebuild in Las Vegas. The Raiders aren't chasing headlines, they're building a foundation. Let's keep the spotlight on the front office. We talked earlier about the hiring of Brandon Hunt as the Raiders' new vice president of player personnel. But now we've got a little more insight into what makes this move so significant. Hunt comes from an organization known for its elite scouting structure, the Philadelphia Eagles. Under general manager Howie Roseman, Philly has built a reputation for letting scouts have a real voice in the draft room. Roseman often relies on his scouting staff for key decisions, even asking them directly which offensive lineman to take in the later rounds. It's a collaborative process, and one that's produced consistent results. That's the system Brandon Hunt is coming from. Before his time in Philly, Hunt spent 12 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers as their pro scouting coordinator, another organization known for its draft success. While it's not confirmed, there's a strong possibility he overlapped with Raiders GM JohnSpytek during that time. Hunt was most recently the Eagles' senior director of scouting, and he played a part in building their Super Bowl contending roster. Around the league, he's viewed as a rising star. Many believe he'll be a general manager in the next decade. For now, he brings that sharp eye for talent to Las Vegas, helping Spytek build out a smarter, deeper roster. Now let's pivot to a different kind of acquisition, this one a little more high-profile. According to Adam Schefter, the Miami Dolphins are still exploring trade options for All-Pro cornerback Jaylen Ramsey. And while it's not confirmed, there's growing speculation that the Raiders could be one of the interested teams. Schefter noted that any deal would likely be processed after June 1st, mainly for salary cap reasons. That timeline gives Miami significant cap relief, while giving any acquiring team, like the Raiders, some flexibility to make the numbers work. Here's where things get interesting. Ramsey has previously mentioned Las Vegas as a destination he'd consider, but he's also made it clear he's not open to just any team. He's looking for a contender. The perception around the league might be that the Raiders are still a few steps away from that. But with PeteCarroll, Tom Brady, and JohnSpytek now leading the charge, things could look different to a veteran like Ramsey. If a trade does happen, the Raiders would likely have to restructure or extend Ramsey's contract. But from a cap perspective, they're in a position to make it work. And when healthy, Ramsey is still one of the 5 best corners in football. While the cornerback position is often system-dependent, elite players, guys like Charles Woodson, break that mold. Jaylen Ramsey fits in that same category. If Las Vegas is serious about turning the corner on defense, this would be the type of move to accelerate that process. Let's see if this smoke turns into fire. Let's wrap up this conversation on Jaylen Ramsey and look at the bigger picture, what the Raiders are really building toward in 2025. There are very few cornerbacks in the NFL who can thrive in any system. Jaylen Ramsey is one of them. Like Charles Woodson before him, Ramsey is an exception to the rule, a rare, scheme-proof defensive back who can step into any locker room and instantly elevate the unit. That's not something you can say about most corners. In fact, in any given draft class, you might get 3 great offensive linemen, a few elite defensive linemen, and sometimes 0 shutdown corners. It's that rare. Just look at recent history. Derek Stingley Jr. was the last corner with true all-pro upside coming out of college. Before that, maybe Jaylen Ramsey himself. That scarcity is exactly why Ramsey is so valuable, and why, if the Raiders are serious about contending, they should explore a deal. Now, it's true. Most corners are system guys. They rise and fall depending on the scheme. Linebackers are the same way. Robert Spillane, for example, was average in Pittsburgh, but under Patrick Graham, he's become a top 10 linebacker. Same with Zach Bond. He flew under the radar, landed in Philadelphia with Vic Fangio, and turned into an all-pro talent. That's the impact of coaching and fit. But Jaylen Ramsey breaks that mold. He's an independent force. If Las Vegas adds him, it would immediately strengthen a defense that's already trending upward. That brings us to the rest of the roster. The offense, in my view, is ready to compete. Geno Smith is in place. Ashton Jeanty could become a top 5 offensive weapon in the league. And don't forget Brock Bowers. Heading into year 2, he's only going to get better. I don't expect any sophomore slump from him. Wide receiver depth is promising. Trey Tucker has the speed. He just needs more consistency. Dante Thornton and Jack Beck are both rookies, but they've got solid traits. Beck in particular reminds me of Jacoby Myers. Reliable, maybe not a burner, but a guy who can move the chains. The offensive line? That's where development needs to happen. The talent is there, the Raiders have invested in it. But you can't just sign one free agent and expect immediate results. It takes time. Caleb Rogers could turn into a solid guard, and year 2 linemen like DJ Glaze should take a leap forward. Veterans like Dylan Parham and Cody Kappa will be key too. Bottom line, the offensive foundation is set. This team can score 30 to 35 points on any given Sunday. But defensively, there's still room to improve. Most of that improvement is going to come from the defensive line. If they dominate, it changes everything behind them. Still, adding a player like Ramsey, an elite, proven difference maker in the secondary, could be the missing piece that takes the Raiders from playoff hopeful to legitimate contender. If you have a dominant defensive line, you can control games. It's that simple. Yes, quarterbacks can get the ball out quickly to try to neutralize the pass rush, but that only gets you so far. If you're relying on quick passes, you need 12 to 15 plays just to score. That means you have to be perfect. 1 third down incompletion, 1 tipped ball, 1 penalty, drives over. Eventually, your quarterback has to drop back, scan the field, and let plays develop. That's where the Raiders' front 4 can take over. If Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, Adam Butler, and Tyree Wilson are healthy and clicking, that's an elite defensive line. That's a group that can wreck a game plan, and the Raiders are betting big on that unit. They've also added players they believe PeteCarroll and Patrick Graham can shape into system fits. Guys like Eric Stokes, who's entering a critical 5th year. With a fresh scheme, Stokes could have a breakout season. The same goes for Jacorian Bennett, who could make a leap in year 3. If Jeremy Chin plays like he did last year, that's another versatile piece in the secondary. And what if you move Jaylen Ramsey to safety? That could unlock a whole new level. Ramsey is instinctive, physical, and one of the smartest defenders in the game. Even as a safety, he could be elite. There's risk in betting on players to bounce back or develop, but Ramsey reduces that risk. He's a known quantity, and if he's available, he makes the entire defense better. Olympic flag football in 2028? Let's close this out with something fun. Flag football might be coming to the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, and yes, it could include NFL players. Now just imagine this. Justin Jefferson lining up across from a software engineer from India, Tyreek Hill streaking past a dentist from Germany, Jack Beck catching passes while Brock Bowers anchors the middle. It would be chaos, but the entertaining kind. Obviously, it's a non-contact game, so there's no offensive or defensive line, but the speed, footwork, and ball skills of NFL players would completely overwhelm international competition. The U.S. would dominate, no question. But here's the real question. Will NFL players even want to participate? Not all of them will. Some stars, especially big money names like Jefferson, may opt out to avoid injury. But others, guys looking for exposure, pride, or just a fun challenge, they'll be in. I could absolutely see players like Trey Tucker taking that opportunity. Because, let's be real, he's faster and more skilled than any corner another country can field. For this to happen, 24 of the 32 NFL owners would need to approve it. But why wouldn't they? It's good publicity, it grows the game internationally, and it gives fans a reason to care about Olympic football. I'd tune in, and I don't usually watch the Olympics. That's it for today's video. I'm not feeling 100% right now, but I wanted to check in and share a few thoughts on everything going on, from the Jaylen Ramsey rumors to the Olympic flag football buzz. As always, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. We've got a Cody Lindbergh film breakdown coming soon. Should be posted tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. See you next time.